Hey, everybody. It's that time again. It's Monday, 8 p.m. Central. And you know what we do then? It's time to talk. And please welcome my, the other side, the better side of the show, my co host, Dr. Camille Gray. Dr. Gray,
Happy Monday. Happy November 1st.
November 1st. Ooh, y'all. Okay. Welcome to Glowvember. Okay, it's not November, it's Glowvember. Okay, I just had to throw that in there. Uh,
It's
and I'll tell
also
you,
Camille.
yeah, come here. Come, let's see, how can we do it? Come Vember, Covember. Okay, we can do
I just got
Covember.
Camille November.
Camille November. Okay. Um, yeah, both of our birthdays are in November. So you know we are special people. We got it going on. That's all. I just wanted y'all to understand that, just in case you were wondering. But one thing I do want to remind you, if you're in Texas, tomorrow is election day. If you did not go out and early vote, tomorrow is election day, and there are 8 propositions on the um, ballot, and a little bit unusual. We didn't talk about them this time, but we'll get y'all, read them, look at them. The majority are things that um, are maybe necessary in some aspects, but others we definitely need to do a vote no on. I think. Am I partisan or nonpartisan? Yeah, 3 and 4, no. Okay. So just remember 3 and 4, no. But anyway, so the past 2 shows, or 3 shows maybe, we have been talking about forgiveness. And I've been trying to think about what I wanted for my birthday. And so came up with this idea that I want y'all to give me something for my birthday. And it doesn't cost any money. You don't have to go anywhere to do it, but you can do it and it will help you if you do it. I was born in Refugio, Refugio, yes, Refugio, Texas, and I was born on November 7th, 11:58 p.m. So I was 2 minutes from being November 8th, but God wanted me to have that special birthday of 11/7 because those are some perfect numbers that I just love. And I want you to get your phone and put an alarm on for 11:58 p.m. on November 7th. So it will go off and remind you. And what I want you to do is on at that time, I just want you to say, I forgive you. And I want you to say it as many times as you need to say it. I forgive you. And I'll put it in the chat to remind those who are not here later. But you have 6 days to think about who you need to forgive. And if the truth be told, we have people, maybe, some that we need to think about and ask God to show us some things we may be holding on to and some things we need to forgive. And so I'm just asking you for my birthday at this time, just say, I forgive you. You know who it is. We don't have to know. They don't have to know. You and God have to know that you are forgiving that person. You have 6 days to think and pray about it. And I'm considering coming on live at that time if, since y'all will already be buzzed because of your alarm goes off. But I really thought about it, and we're talking about forgiveness. And in this time of so much turmoil and so many things going on, there's some forgiveness that needs to happen. And I won't say it's the only solution, but I know it's a good solution. And so if we practice forgiveness, I think that would be a good start getting us into the new year. And based on what we're talking about tonight and how Dr. Camille is going to advise us, if we do this before then, that's going to help our holidays. I really do believe, because I do believe there are some brothers who need to forgive brothers, sisters who need to forgive sisters, daughters who need to forgive mothers, sons who, I could go on and on. I actually did that the other day, and I wrote down, and I had a half a page of those different relationships. I mean, nieces and aunts need to forgive each other. So many people, we need to forgive each other, and a lot of them is in our family. And remember, forgiveness is about you. It's not about the other person. So I'll talk about it a little bit later after, as we come to the end of the broadcast. But now we want to get in, y'all, the holidays are coming up. And I didn't buy any, but I had to go to Hobby Lobby and Christmas songs are playing. And y'all just had Halloween last night. So, Dr. Camille, what do we need to do to get prepared so we can have good holidays?
Well, I think part of it is going to be not just preparing for holiday, but just preparing to move into 2022 in a way that we're in this post-COVID curve, and we had to be, we got claustrophobia and we were shut in, and we're going to emerge in 2022. And if we do this right, we should be different than we were when we came into the COVID season. And Gloria, I completely agree with you that forgiveness is a key. It's a big old key. It unlocks a lot of doors to your heart. And we are not, I think we established in the last two shows that we're not talking about a type of forgiveness that is waiting for someone to do something or for someone to get their act together. Before we forgive, we are making the decision that we're going to not only forgive, but we're going to walk in that. We don't have to go through the family and make an announcement. I forgave you, because truly, when you feel like you have to announce something, you really haven't done the work. If I am walking in true forgiveness, and I believe that, 1 Corinthians 13, one of the love is it does not keep score. So if I'm not keeping score and I'm walking in true forgiveness, I don't have to announce to someone that I've forgiven them. They're going to know by the way I love them, the way I treat them, the way I show a renewed capacity for compassion for them. They're going to know. They're going to know. That's one of those TikTok things. Nobody's going to know. They're going to know.
They're going to know.
But I think the first thing that we need to do, and it's the first thing that we do whenever we do something, is we got to just decide. We got to decide that this holiday season is going to be better. We're going to decide that 2022 is going to be better or different or extraordinary. We have to decide. And then, the next thing is going to be, after you've made the decision, you got to come up with a plan. An executable, realistic plan. We can't write a scenario for everything that might happen during the holidays, but there are some things that, especially when you're dealing with family, there are some things that are pretty predictable. We know how certain family members are going to behave. We know what our historical responses to those family members have been. And we also know how we behave. So my heart is that you not walk into any new season with the expectation that everybody's going to change because you did. You are executing a decision that you made based on a plan that you had that reflects what is best for you, what gets you closer to the abundant life what mirrors Christ consciousness, what demonstrates that you are walking in love and forgiveness. And if nobody else in the room has changed, you also get to practice not judging. Because really, when we walk into those spaces and we decide that nothing and nobody has changed, we're measuring that against our expectation. We're judging. So what if everybody at the Thanksgiving table was walking in forgiveness, non-judgment, not keeping score? I bet that turkey would be good.
We'd be sitting there all day.
Food doesn't taste good if it's been cooked under stress, duress, or hate. So imagine how good, how palatable the meal would even be. But since we can't control the actions of others, we have to decide now that we're going to walk through this holiday season without judging, in forgiveness, with love and compassion and kindness, and then all of the things that most religious practices teach us. And it sounds odd, but when you develop your plan, and sometimes let me not be so generic. So for me, part of the plan would be to decide whether I'm going to all these things that family says we're obligated to. My plan would be to communicate now that I won't be there. Okay, that may be that may be a plan. Another plan may be to, I have coached people to, sometimes when you are with family and you bring company, family will behave better. So maybe part of your plan would be to bring a guest. Maybe part of your plan will be not to stay the whole day. Maybe part of the plan is you having a timer. I need to get home to see the Cowboys game. I just need to get on the road to avoid traffic. And begin to communicate those things now. You don't walk in because, you don't walk in with the attitude, I'm only going to be here an hour and I'm only going to sit here and I got to get back. It's like, hey, I'm doing things a little bit different this year. I'm coming by, but I won't be able to stay more than an hour. Thank you so much for honoring what I need in this season. Or, another strategy to implement as part of your plan is figure out who you can genuinely ask to help you. So when I was a teacher, I always found the informal leader, if I had one of those classes that would implode if the child got control before I did. So you find that informal family leader and you say, hey, I need your help this year. I'm coming for Thanksgiving, I'm coming for Christmas, but I need your help to make sure that I get back on the road on time. Can you help me with that? You're not saying you're only going to be there an hour. You're just saying, I need help. Can you make sure that I am walking out the door and getting on the road at 4:00? Never mind, I got there at 3. But just come up with strategies that maintain the dignity of the other people in the room, that gives you peace. And like I said, guide you more to the abundant life. So I kind of have a list, but I don't want to just throw it up all over you guys. So we can park and talk about some of it, or Gloria, give your thoughts, or audience, don't forget to click. Don't forget to like and share and comment.
Well, I just love it. I think it's funny, and some of my family's on here, and they probably laugh. They probably laughing too, because some things are predictable, and it's just funny sometimes. But I was just thinking, if we think like Angel was talking about, or like we were talking in the previous things, if we can see those people in their whatever it is that we would tend to judge them on, if we could see that they're hurting, if we could just this one time be intentional about seeing that they're hurting, not that you're going to be able to do anything for the hurt, but just see them from that perspective this year, that they're hurting. And that will allow you to have some solace in yourself, I believe, because some people have been hurting for years. And I made that long because it's been a long time. Some people have been hurting for a long time. And it's just, it's become a regular part of who they are. And sometimes it brings arguments, sometimes it brings other things or whatever, but you have to look at them differently this year. You have to look at them differently, and that will make you feel differently, I believe, this year, because
Mhm.
I have never realized a statement that mama used to say and you heard other elders say, and I'm an elder now anyway, but anyway, tomorrow's not promised. Man, if that statement has never been true, it's true today. And it's like you're almost just waiting sometimes to see, okay, and I was telling a friend of mine, I forgot who it was, don't say what's next because you'll see it. Don't say what's next. Just, keep moving, glide in it. But these holidays are, we have less of them. Well, I have less of them in front of me than I have behind me. And so if I can't make this a positive time, shame on me, because I have the information. And when they say, when you know better, you do better. So shame on me if I go into this holiday and I decide to judge a relative or a friend or whatever, regardless of what they're doing, without looking at them through the eyes that God would see them, or that, as we were
Mhm.
talking about, they're hurt. So there's no reason to have causes tension or whatever. They're hurt. So I think it's I think what you've been saying is so important. We have to. It's like, don't you want to feel good this holiday? Don't you want to go through this holiday without arguments and stuff? Don't you want to go through this holiday and just be at peace and come back home and say, "Wow, that was a good time." Or if it's at your home and after you finish the dish, you say, "Man, that was a best whatever Thanksgiving, Christmas, birthday, whatever that I've ever
Mhm.
had." Wow, what would that feel like?
Mhm. And I think part of that, again, part of the planning is what permissions are you going to give yourself? You're going to give yourself permission to have a good time. You're going to give yourself permission to excuse yourself if things start to look like what you're trying to step away from. And you can give yourself permission to excuse those. If it's at your house, you have permission to excuse those who were not gonna, play nice.
Yeah.
Sometimes, especially when it's family, we just think we have to put up with a whole lot of stuff that we really just don't have to.
Mm,
And it's like, I understand it doesn't appear that you're having a really good time. And I want to
mm.
help you. So the best way I can help you, since you're not having a good time, is to maybe if you go somewhere else and you might have let's find you somewhere else to go where you can have a good time. Not in front of everybody, in a way that preserves dignity. And when you are the person that needs to excuse yourself, it's like, hey, um, I just need to be excused. And thank you for honoring my need to be excused from the room at this time. It's important to say please and thank you, and make sure that you are honoring the person who you need to get away from, or the situation that you get out of. So give yourself permission to do what you have to do in love and compassion, to not have to walk in spaces that are no longer comfortable, or you just don't want to be in the toxic space anymore.
And Camille, but one of the things that I would do before I ask someone to leave the house, I would probably ask them, are they okay? Are you
Yeah.
okay? Is something going on, or
And I don't, yeah.
something like
And
that?
I didn't mean just walk up to them and say, get out. It's
Yeah.
not Amityville horror, even though it can feel
That's what
like
it
that.
sounded like,
But
because I was like, okay, well, who's gonna do that? without a
a
fight.
private conversation is like, hey, it doesn't look like you're having a good time and I want to
Yeah,
help.
I know.
Will
I
you
got
leaving and get some air? Will that help? Um, what can I do to help you have a good time if you're really interested in staying? And then you come to some type of agreement that, if it feels like you're no longer, I've done this with family members, especially the younger ones, because, sometimes they get around us old people and they lose their voice. They don't have a voice because we're playing this should be seen, not heard game. And so I have family members that know they can just come and hold my hand. The younger ones can come sit in my lap. They don't have to say anything. And I know that means that they're miserable. And then my job is to get outside. I have actually piled teenagers and children in cars and taken them bowling to get away from, the toxic adults. So,
No,
but
I
it's
got.
because I had a plan.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So
I
you
mean,
have
and
some.
these are things, these things are not just for the holiday. They're for, any goal that you may want to set for 2022. I'm not a big New Year's resolution person. I feel like if you feel like something needs to be different in 2022 or whenever, you need to go ahead and make that change now. Don't wait for the clock striking 12. And chances are, if you recognize that there is something like your goal to save more money or whatever is going to be a 2022 goal, you're more likely to hit that goal if you start when you understand that it's something that needs to change rather than waiting for some type of time marker. And just like you said, the elders said, we're not promised 2022. So if there's something you want to do or a goal you want to hit, you might need to figure out how to get that done before December 31st, because we're not promised any of the days that are coming. And I am especially reminded of this, particularly in November, because this Friday will be the 8th anniversary of my baby brother's passing. And I remember a couple of days after he died and we were waiting to get back to South Carolina for his final farewell, because there were a number of them, because he was in the military and there were a lot of people who loved him, and we tried to give as many groups of people a chance to honor him. But one of the things when we were packing, my mom and I were packing in the hotel, and the lady that was taking care of us said, we were talking about something, and she says, well, I've lived half my life and I want my first half to be different. And I'm like, sweetie, you don't know that you've lived half your life. Matter of fact, you won't know. The people that you leave behind, I said, my brother died at 43 years old. That means at 21 and a half, is that half of 43?
Close.
Yeah, I think so. At 41, at 21, when he only had one child, he has three. At 21 and a half, he had already lived half his life and he didn't know it. So we don't know what the half is. We don't know if we're on the other side of half, or we don't know how far on the other side of half we are. So we do need to be careful. And if there's something that we need to go ahead and get done, we need not wait.
Yeah, my pastor always says you don't know how old you are until you know when you're going to pass. So you don't know how old you really are because you don't know your death date. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So
So
and please take that, audience, as encouragement. We got things that we want to get done, and we hide behind time. And time is a commodity that we only get on this side of eternity. So get out there and make every day count. And so another thing that I was thinking about today was here's a question, Gloria. What do you have to believe in order to make the holidays and or 2022 different from past years?
repeat that again. What do you have to believe?
What do you have to believe in order for 2022 and or the holidays to be different than they have been? And that's not a question that you can necessarily answer right now, but it's a question that you probably, the audience, the collective you would need to answer in order to even make a plan. For instance, you may need to believe, the collective you may need to believe that you are deserving of a peaceful and tranquil holiday.
Mm-hmm.
You are deserving of a drama-free holiday. You are deserving of the abundant life. We may need to re-believe that when God made the earth and he declared on each day whatever he created that day was good, including man, it may be that we have to believe that these broken people that are in our lives are in fact good in order for us to, in order for it to be a holiday like it's never been before. Mm-hmm. And yes, Sharon, we believe that it can be better. Mm-hmm. I have to believe that I am capable of coming up with the plan and executing the plan to make it better.
Yes.
And
yes.
I have to believe that I don't have to wait for somebody else to change in order for it to be better. Mm. Those are just a couple of examples.
And, I want to believe also that just as I am working on myself, that through this time, others of my family, friends, etc., have been working on themselves. That's not a condition or necessarily an expectation that I believe they're going to act different. But my belief in prayer is that, those that I am around have been working on themselves just as I have. So I think that's a positive thing to believe, that, I'm not Miss Whatever. I'm the only one that work on myself. No, all of my circle, my prayer is in belief is that they've been working on themselves and they've learned things through these last couple of years.
Mm-hmm. I think another tool that we can use for both 2022 and specifically the holidays, I think we're parked on the holidays right now. Our prayer lives can make a difference. Our prayer life, our meditation time is going to change us, not other people, but we can start meditating and visioning what the holidays will look like. But we can, those of you who pray, those of us who pray, we can pray specifically. Sometimes we get not because we ask not. We can pray specifically, for people, not necessarily for them not to be there. So to me, it would be a prayer of God's will. It's like, Lord, I'm sending out these invitations. Mm-hmm. And when the day comes, I'm going to assume that because you are ever present, all knowing, and in complete control, that only the people that are in the room are supposed to be the people in the room. And then be grateful and honor those people, and don't spend a whole lot of time on who's not there, because that can create judgments too. How many times have you been in a room and you notice someone's missing and somebody's got a story, and then, well, child, they should have been doing this, and she'd have been here if it weren't for that sorry man, and you just spin into judgment. And I know that there have been times when I tell people, huh?
I say, people too well. I say, people, but I guess that's your business. But it's so funny. You are so right.
Well, but before it was my business, I guess it was just the thing that I, in that be seen and not heard, you figure out some things. I'm a person of pattern. Every time this happens. And, I feel like I'm a pattern interrupter. So now that I know that this is what occurs, I set off to try to fix it in a way that it brings a more positive pattern. But we got to believe that what I need to believe is that the people who are with me this holiday season, the people who go into 2022 with me, are the ones that God specifically ordained to walk with me. And I am not going to mourn or grieve someone who does not show up for me. I am going to forgive them and enjoy the people in the room. Because when you think about it, if you spend a lot of time focused on who's not there, who's not there, whether it's right now, who's not on this show, who didn't come to church last Sunday. It's kind of like when we're listening to a sermon and we're thinking about all the people who need to hear the sermon, but we're the ones in the room.
Right.
Okay. Do you realize how dishonoring and disrespectful that is to the people who showed up for you because you're pining for that person? And it's not that there's anything wrong with the pining, but the pining can make that person an idol and make it impossible for you to honor those who are in front of you. And since I mentioned idols, let's all try not to make idols out of these holidays. You know, Jesus didn't ask you to buy a single thing for him for Christmas. So while you're in Walmart losing your mind on the day after Thanksgiving, remember.
But he did want me. He wanted me to decorate my house with all my black Santa Clauses and stuff. So if he came to visit, he wanted my house to look good. So I know he wanted that.
Okay.
But it is not my idol, okay? It is not my idol. But I want to go back real quick on something that you were saying, because you were talking about the people who are not there and focusing on those people. And that's relative to the space I'm in now. As a few folks know, I've been trying to consciously do one thing at a time and focus on that thing. And what you just said is very important relative to that. It's about being present where you are, as opposed, and with the people where you are, as opposed to thinking about who's not there, like you say. Then you're not fully present where you are. And it was something about, I saw something, I don't know, it was something about don't look in the rearview mirror too much because you're not going back there or whatever. When you spend all that time, you can't focus on what's right there in front of you. So I think that's, so important. And if we believe that God knows what he's doing, he knows exactly the people that need to be there. So those that are not there are not there. So if we're trusting God, I know that sounds super spiritual, but if he knows what he's doing, then he has the people there that he wants to be there. So what are we, pining about? Let's move on and be focused, be intentional about what we need to do. But yes, and don't make that other person an idol. And my decorations are not an idol, because God, I want my house to be nice when Jesus comes. Now,
I hear you, sis. And I'll just add one more thing. I'll just add one more thing to that. So for folks who don't buy into our air quotes super spiritual, let's pretend for a moment that God isn't in control of everything. So the answer to that is everybody has a choice. So then if you can't, if you're not able to say, okay, these are the people that God wanted in the room with me, then perhaps understanding that those are the people who made the choice to be and honor the choice.
That's good. Okay.
Yeah. Honor the choice.
That's honoring that person. Bottom line. Yeah. So what else should we do to be prepare for the holiday?
I think I want to share a few resources that have helped me get to where I am today. And I'm going to start with Dr. Caroline Leaf's book.
Oh my God.
Cleaning Up Your Mental Mess. And the reason why I'm bringing this one up is she has a 63-day plan, and we have 61 days left in a year. So if you get your Amazon copy, order it tonight. Maybe it'll be on your doorstep in the morning. You catch up those first 3 chapters. You might be able to clean up your middle, at least begin the process by the end of the year. Okay, so I brought that one up first. Cleaning Up Your Mental Mess. It's 5 simple. 5 simple, scientifically proven steps to reduce anxiety, stress, and toxic thinking. Okay, that's number 1. number 2 is The Audacity to Be Queen. And what this particular book, I'm actually rereading this one. I've been in touch with the author on another project, and what this book, 2 things I appreciate about the book. One, Gina DeVee, the author, I was introduced to her through a program called The Millionaire Within Her. She re-examines the story of Esther. So those of you who were like me, a student of religion or Christ conscious, this is going to be this is going to bring that spiritual piece in that you would appreciate. But she re-examines Esther's entire story. And the second thing that I love about this is she is my constant reminder that when you see yourself as a queen, you know, we're part of a royal priesthood in New Testament Christianity. If you see yourself as a queen, there's just some things that kings and queens don't do because they're members of royalty. And if you want to do something really fun, Google some of the rules of the British monarch. Some of them are funny. For instance, when Queen Elizabeth is done talking to someone, she puts her purse on the table. And that's the clue to her handlers that she's ready to go. Or if she's been introduced to someone, she carries her handbag on her right arm. When she's been introduced to someone and she's finished talking with them, whether they're finished or not, she will move her handbag from the right arm to the left arm, and that's the signal that I'm done. You know, members of the monarchy the women, they tend to carry clutch bags so that they can have a grip with 2 hands so they don't have to hug. And it's a reminder to others that, you know, you're not supposed to touch them. And someone who's big on not wanting to be touched without permission, I really appreciate that one. But yeah, look up the behavior of kings and queens. And like I said, when you know you're a king or a queen, there's just some things that you just don't do. There's some attitudes that you don't have. There's some folks that you're not going to spend a whole lot of time with because you're a queen. Okay. Right. The next one is Vibrate Higher Daily. Live Your Power. And this is by Delia. She has a podcast, and she's also on YouTube. Here's the back of her book. One of her quotes is, "There's a pathway of higher potential and power that, when honored, transforms your reality in you." And basically, this is a lesson on your personal vibration, you know, because we're 75% water. That means we're also, we carry, you know, an electromagnetic field. And there are certain things we can do to make sure we're just in a higher state of mind.
What's her name again? I couldn't see it.
Here, Layla.
Okay, Delia. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then the last book, I'm not finished with it, but our friend Angel recommended this one, The Body Keeps the Score. Now, this one right here, I was 13 pages in, and I could feel a new level of compassion for people. And I hadn't even opened the workbook. It comes with it has a workbook. It has a workbook, but just I'm on page 57 now, and I'm also listening to this on audio when I can't carry my book.
Who's that author?
This is Bessel, Bessel, Vanderkolk, MD. So this is the Cleaning Up Your Mental Mess is a PhD in psychology. And so Dr. Kolk, he would be your medical professional, the psychiatrist. He did a lot of work with KOLK.
Okay, got it.
He he did a lot of work with Vietnam vets and was
Hmm.
part of the early teams to identify. He worked with the woman who actually coined the phrase post-traumatic stress disorder.
Hmm.
And he was with Eli Lilly, had grants with Eli Lilly when Prozac came on it in 1988, because, we didn't have any real good antipsychotic medicines until 1988, y'all. And this is a very contemporary read. He talks about the need for, something other than medication,
Hmm.
that, medication should be a part of a strategy for dealing with certain mental health issues, but it should not be the be all to end all. So yeah, I am really enjoying this as a psychologist, but also, as a regular person. And this is one of these books that I wish that every pastor, anybody who works with people, I think ought to read this. And if I ever if I ever hire any more people in my own business, or as I move into other business ventures, this may be required reading for my staff. But if you're in the helping profession, social work or whatnot, child protective services, this would be a book that would go a long way in your own practice. And then the very last thing that I'm going to recommend is just get you a journal. And instead of talking to a whole bunch of people and getting a whole lot of, mixed advice, use your journal to work some things out. Use your journal to write letters to people that you need to forgive, but you don't need to talk to them, but the daily practice of writing for healing, I'm actually going to be doing a workshop on that in 2022. I'll keep you posted. But there's a difference between journaling, like Dear Diary, versus journaling specifically for transformational mental wellness. So we'll get into the nuts and bolts of that. So, but I really wanted to make sure that those. Oh, and if you want a really good motivational, most devotional, I have Simple Abundance. This was actually recommended on Oprah's book club. It's a day book of comfort and joy by Sarah Van Brethnock. And it's just 365 days of just some really good inspiration. I didn't write any of these books, so, and I don't know any. The only person in that I personally know is Gina.
Okay. Now my Simple Abundance is that thick. What is that you just showed? The one you just put up there.
This one?
Is that like a workbook or something?
No, it's a 365 day devotional.
Oh, okay. Because I had the Simple Abundance book and it was like seriously thick. So that's why I was like, what is that? Okay, that's a devotional. Mm-hmm. I have to look at that. Okay, well, so I have a suggestion to get ready for the holidays in 2020, and since you won't have to make a New Year's resolution, start your exercise program now. So when you eat during the holidays, you'll already be burning the food, so you won't have to feel so bad about what you eat. You can enjoy yourself, because that's another thing that people do during the holidays. They fret and they fret about what they eat, what they're not going to, all of this. So if you start your workout program now, as I talk to myself, your metabolism will be rolling when the holidays come. So get started now. Now, that wasn't off of Dr. Camille's list, but I thought about it.
So here's something else that's not on my list either. I have not had a chance to read first because I got out of bed running this morning because I have some other things that I'm doing this week. But I'm going to read November 1st because it is so appropriate for our conversation tonight. Okay. Alexander Pope said, "The season when to come and when to go, to sing or cease to sing, we never know. There was once a mighty queen with a short fuse, One autumn, as the year was beginning to ebb, the queen fell into a deep melancholy. She could
Mm,
neither eat nor slumber, and tears of an unknown origin fell frequently, which infuriated her,
mm,
triggering angry fits that made those around her quake in fear. Each day, the queen summoned a new advisor from her esteemed circle of sages to explain the cause of her baffling condition. In they came and out they went. The court physician, the stargazer, the psychic, the alchemist, the herbalist, the philosopher. All were dismissed as charlatans for their inability to unravel the mystery of the royal black spell. They counted themselves lucky to only have their illustrious careers shortened instead of being killed. Surely there must be one among you who knows the source of my suffering, the queen cried in
mm,
despair. But her pathetic wail was greeted only with awkward silence, for all were wary of her wrath. Finally,
mm,
the royal gardener was moved by compassion for the poor woman and slowly approached her throne. Come into the garden, Majesty, behind the walls of your self imprisonment, and I will disclose your dilemma. The queen was so desperate, she did what she did as was bid. When she
mm,
went out to the garden for the first time in many weeks, she noticed the bright light, vivid colors of summer had faded, and the garden seemed bare. But it was not. She saw wholly bereft of beauty, for it was regal in autumn's brilliant hues of crimson and gold. The air was refreshingly cool and crisp, and the sky pure blue. Speak, gardener, the queen ordered, but choose your words carefully, for I seek the truth. Majesty, it is not your body or your mind that is ailing. It is your soul that is in need of healing. For while you are mighty and powerful as queen, you are not divine. You are
mm,
suffering from a human condition that afflicts us all. Earthly souls ebb and flow in sorrow and joy according to the seasons of emotion, just as the seasons of the natural world move through the cycle of life, death, and rebirth. These
mm,
are the days to be grateful for the harvest of the heart, however humble it may be, to prepare for the coming year's closure. Even now, the season of daylight diminishes and the time of darkness increases. But the true light is never extinguished in the natural world, and it is the same in your soul. Embrace the ebb, my beloved queen, and do not fear the darkness. For as night follows day, the light will return, and you will know contented hours once again. Of this I am sure. The
mm,
unhappy queen considered this wisdom thoughtfully and asked the gardener how she possessed the secret knowledge of inner peace during seasons of emotion. The gardener led her to a brass sundial, and it read, "This too shall pass."
yeah.
I think that's very appropriate. We're going, this is but a season
But
that
I
we're
see.
passing through. And
Mhm,
if we think in terms of the fall, when the earth is getting cooler, we see the ground being covered with leaves, and there is an appearance that things are dead and nothing is alive. We know that the ground is being covered and kept warm for those seeds that are going to sprout in spring, you know. And
mhm.
when it talked about the night following the light, I will be so glad for next Sunday because we get an extra hour that I desperately need, however short-lived that seems to be these days. But just remember, everything is in a cycle, and the holidays is but one cycle that we go through. But there is a way to get through it and to do it well if you decide and if you choose to execute your plan.
Yes.
Gloria?
Yes, and I'll say I just want to bring this up right now because I think our person next week is going to be Dr. Brandy Gale, and this is her book. It is on Amazon. Self Care is Self Love, and I just bring that up based on what we've talked about tonight. Is self care. We're talking about caring about yourself enough to make some intentional decisions about your holidays coming up. and even about 2022. Self-care is self-love. So if you care about yourself, make some intentional actions to make sure that you're taking care of yourself, that you're being at peace, that you're not allowing someone else's tensions, negative energy, or whatever to come off on you, because you have to believe that you deserve more. And God has promised us more, that abundant life. And so you have to take care of yourself. No one else can do it like you. You have to take care of yourself. So it's close to our hour. So I want to thank Dr. Camille. Man, we're going to miss you in November. Y'all have to deal with me in November unless Angel, somebody going to come on and co-host. We'll find somebody to come on and co-host. Look, we'll have a guest co-host in November. Hush, look at y'all. But I want to remind y'all about what I said at the beginning of the program, okay? On November 7th, get your clock. I ain't playing, get your phone like they tell you in church. November 7th, 11:58 p.m. I want you to proclaim, I forgive you. And we don't have to know who it is. And the person you're forgiving does not have to know who it is. Only you and God. And don't go to the Thanksgiving dinner, Christmas dinner, whatever. Said, oh, I just want you to know I forgave you. That no, we don't want to do that. Keep it to yourself. Just tell God about it. Now you have 6 days to decide who the you is. And if truth be known, I know we got a you in there. And sometimes you might be yourself too a little bit. You need to work on that, because there's some things we've done that we haven't forgotten and may not have really understand how God has forgiven us, but we may not have forgiven ourselves. But you have 6 days to decide who you will proclaim on November 7th, 11:58 p.m. I forgive you. And I plan to be on live at that time. So we may be able to talk about it. I don't know. We'll see. But I just want you to have that freedom. And that's my birthday gift from you to me. See, you're supposed to know what people want. So I'm telling you what I want, so you don't have to worry about it. But, if you want to go out and buy something, that's okay, because gifts is my love language. Okay, I'm sorry. I got detracted. But please set your clock for 11:58 p.m. and prepare yourself, plan, be intentional. All that Dr. Camille has talked about, or we've talked, you have to be intentional. You can't just say, oops, pop up and say, what did she say? How did she say? What did she say? And these are all on here all the time, so you can go back and look and refresh your memory. But please have a great holiday this year. Intentionally. You deserve it. Okay? You deserve it. Any closing remarks, Dr. Camille?
Break open that journal, grab a book, grab something that's going to help. I'll say this. I heard someone say this a long time ago, and I kind of take it to heart when people are looking for advice. And I think part of your goal setting should be, you need to do a real evaluation of who you tell and who you garner advice from. All right. So the person told me that when they were looking for, strategies to lose weight, as much as they loved Oprah, she wasn't going to be of any use. Right. Mm-hmm. But when they were looking for strategies to build their media company, they looked at Oprah. And she's, there's not a more intentional person and a more intentional living person that I know than her. Mm-hmm. So you find people who are doing what you aspire to be. You don't get financial advice from a broke person, right? You want to know how to grow your money? You should be listening to Tony Robbins and Grant Cardone and Warren Buffett, and pay particular attention when Mr. Buffett is saying nothing. Okay, that's when I'm looking at the financials, I'm like, why isn't he speaking to this? And it's because there is nothing to say. So if he's not doing something, I'm not doing it. Okay. If I decide I finally want to lose these 30 pounds once and for all, I'm going to find someone who's done it and kept it off. I'm not going to find someone who's struggling along with me. If you are having trouble wrapping your head around forgiveness, do not have a conversation with someone who still can tell a story like it happened from 20 years ago, like it happened 10 minutes ago. That is not the person that's going to help you. If you need help in your prayer life, you do not need to go on who can't get out of bed or can't get it together. So, and that's not judgment, that's assessment. You know, there is a kind of judgment that is appropriate, because judges do it every day in their courtrooms. Mm-hmm. They listen to all sides of the story and then they glean what the truth is. So there are some judgments that you are well within your bounds to make, you know, and that would be one of them. Is this person feeding me? Am I growing? Is my energy drawn down by them? And start taking steps to separate yourself when appropriate, in a way that's going to preserve the dignity of the other person, and then find ways to guide yourself openly and honestly to those who are going to walk with you and help you to, you know, create or have the abundant life that, you know, that God has promised to all of us. But that's it.
Yes, ma'am. Well, thank you. And as I said, we're going to miss you in November. And anybody who wants to co-host, hit me up. I'll let y'all co-host. Now, y'all got to be as good as Dr. Camille. Thank
Stop
you.
it. So let me explain to the audience. Let me explain, because it sounds like I'm dying or something.
No, you already said you're taking a break.
No, I said it to you before the show.
No, you said it on the show.
Uh-oh.
You did. But that's okay. Go ahead.
Okay. But anyway, I am not taking a break from y'all. I am taking a break, period. I have just reached the point where in order for me to, part of my plan for going into 2022 is I have to feel like I'm better rested. I do too many things all at once. And I want to just pull away from like everything in November. It's my gift to myself for my birthday on the 17th. It's my gift to not make y'all suffer, because I won't take a break and I won't get any rest. So I'm planning on doing some traveling. I desperately need to see my parents and my one and only child that I don't get to see that often because of his military service. And I really don't want to have to bustle around to get the show together or help someone plan an event. My dad can get really salty if he sees me on my phone. So in order to honor him and to be present with my parents when I go see them, I need to take a break from everything. So I have one more project, actually two, but by Saturday afternoon, I'll be completely unplugged until.
And that all that means is you're walking the talk. Mm-hmm. You're being an example of what you teach. So, you know, I'm just messing with you because I'm gonna miss you, but I know exactly why. And I think we all have to do that at times, from certain things or certain people, et cetera, but we won't go there. So don't forget to set your clock, 11:58 p.m. November 7th. Don't forget to think the next 6 days and pray about who you need to forgive. Don't forget to be here next week at 8 p.m. Central, okay? And now we're going to close out in prayer. I'm going to pray. Father God, oh God, we just thank you for your goodness. We thank you for simply another day that we haven't seen before, and just for life, health, and strength, food, clothing, and shelter. God, just those basic needs that we take for granted so much, Father. God, I thank you for this time of talking and dealing with things that are so serious and funny sometimes. But God, thank you for allowing us to be intentional. God, and as we go, I just pray for Dr. Camille that everything that she is looking to you for during this time of solace and peace and being intentional with her family and with herself, that you would grant to her, Father. And I pray for all the those here that are listening to us or who may listen later, Father, that this will be of value to them and that it would help them to be the people that you would have them to be. And God, we just love you so much and we thank you. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. So
Amen.
everybody, see you next time. Know this is recorded. You can look at it or send it to somebody. If you have a relative that you think you're going to judge for the holiday, send it to them so they can look at it so they know you're not going to be judging. Love y'all. Mwah. See you next time. Bye-bye.